Tonight, police warn locals to stay safe as we count down to Christmas Day. And Spencer Gulf motorists now eligible for a new subsidy to buy an electric car.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. With families sending their Christmas lists to Santa, police in Broken Hill have a wish list of their own. Officers are calling on locals to celebrate responsibly and avoid waking up with a fine as well as a sore head.
With lockdown a distant memory and Christmas just a few weeks away, we're all looking forward to letting our hair down.
People are out and about enjoying themselves, but that does lead to a few people having one too many drinks.
As well as the usual messaging around drink driving, Broken Hill Police will be on the lookout for antisocial behaviour, warning those who are evicted from a licensed venue must move on.
Don't ruin your night out at a Christmas party by getting a nasty surprise the next day when you wake up with a sore head and a fine for $550.
Police say patrols will be ramping up over the silly season to catch any silly behaviour.
We want you to go out, enjoy yourself, and we'll provide that environment where we can. But if you're going to go out and ruin the night for other people, then you'll come under our attention.
Responsible drinking also important for our health. The national guidelines recommend no more than 10 standard drinks a week or 4 on any one day.
Sometimes it's difficult to understand what a standard drink is, so I'd encourage people to become familiar with what is a standard drink. So it varies on the type of alcohol that you like to drink.
The Alcohol and Drug Foundation advising not to drink on an empty stomach and seek support if drinking becomes a problem. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police are investigating an assault which occurred just outside Ceduna earlier this week. At about 12:30 on Monday night, police say a woman was assaulted by an unknown man when she stopped to provide him assistance. CIB detectives are investigating. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Spencer Gulf residents are now able to apply for a new subsidy if they decide to purchase a new electric vehicle. The South Australian Government is hoping to increase adoption of EVs, aiming to reduce carbon emissions.
A jumpstart to encourage more people to consider purchasing an electric vehicle. A $3,000 purchase subsidy from the state government now being offered towards the cost.
This takes the bit of the sting out of the price. We know that the two things that have inhibited people buying EVs has been the sticker price and also the range.
To sweeten the deal, registration fees waived for 3 years. The subsidy and fee exemption only offered for the first 7,000 new EV purchases.
We think that those combinations that the government have put together are probably a pretty good combination for getting those EV purchases, rolling.
The state government also offering subsidies of up to $2,000 to install charging solutions at home. In a statement, Deputy Premier Dan Van Holst Pelican says the scheme is aiming to make owning an EV more affordable in South Australia. The RAA now hoping new fast charging stations in regional areas will further boost adoption.
Places like the Flinders and Eyre Peninsula that aren't well serviced right now can get a kick along or not be lost to EV travellers.
Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, the summer warning to farmers to watch out for insidious weeds. And our end-of-year interviews continue. We sit down with Port Augusta's Mayor. Welcome back. Landholders in the mid-north are urged to keep watch for burr weeds this summer. Large amounts of invasive and damaging weeds are expected to germinate in the region after a wetter than usual spring.
It's that time of year when the prickles come out to play. Landholders in the mid-north urged to be on the lookout for caltrop, innocent weed and khaki weed this summer. The Northern and York Landscape Board believes burr weeds are expected to germinate in large numbers after having a lot of rainfall during November.
Even if it's just a misty rain, plants will germinate, and so they'll quickly establish and do really, really well because there's no other plants or competition, so they take all that moisture in and set seed.
The best way to stop the spread is to spray the weeds with a herbicide or by pulling them up, but make sure you get the whole root so it doesn't grow back.
The caltrop and innocent weed have just got really nasty burrs and are really easily spread. But luckily, they're not that hard to get rid of because they've only got short, shallow root systems.
One plant can produce more than 8,000 seeds, which would make the spread even worse. Farmers also told to check their equipment before returning home after harvest. It is recommended to wear enclosed shoes when walking around town, but if you are wearing thongs this summer, then it is best to check for prickles before entering a yard or a home. Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, farmers have had a frustrating start across the Lower Eyre Peninsula, with that untimely rainfall also affecting the flow of harvest. This year's season has taken a hit due to the weather conditions, but things are finally starting to turn around.
A demanding few weeks for farmers across the Eyre Peninsula. With harvest starting later this year, growers are working hard to make up for lost time.
Yeah, harvest has been fairly frustrating, certainly the beginning. The conditions have been very cool and wet and has delayed the start of harvest. Usually we're going by the beginning of November. Now it's the beginning of December.
The untimely rainfall placing pressure on this year's harvest, putting farmers behind schedule compared to previous years.
Yields probably for us not as good as last year. Down south we had a very wet winter this year and then a dry spring, and so we were waterlogged and then droughted within 4 weeks.
The Bureau of Meteorology saying spring saw some all-time records in rainfall across the Eyre Peninsula.
Normal rainfall for November is 19.2 millimetres for the month. Port Lincoln had 34.4.
Despite the recent weather, Mark Modris saying things are starting to turn around.
Our farming systems these days have improved dramatically, and so we're being able to weather these weather events, the dry and the wet, a lot better than what we have in the past.
With the harsh weather starting to clear up, farmers are expected to finish harvest within 3 to 4 weeks. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Residents and community groups have had their first chance today to tour Whyala's new secondary school. The finishing touches are being put in place before it formally opens its doors to students next year.
Set to welcome more than 1,000 students in the new school year. Curious community members taking a sneak peek inside Whyala's newest secondary college.
So exciting. It's been a long time coming, and I'm so happy that the community can finally come in and have a look at this amazing school.
The $100 million state-of-the-art facility is strategically placed between Whyala's TAFE and Uni SA campuses, creating a central education hub in the city. The foundation principal excited for the opportunities the new school will bring to students across the city.
For the students of Whyala, this has been a long time coming, and they deserve to have the very best facilities and have this opportunity.
Sarah Constructions was contracted to build the school using more than 1,000 tonnes of steel and 5,000 square metres of glass. Project manager Terry Kilday proud and happy with how the final building turned out.
It's feeling great. It's been a long journey. We've worked incredibly hard with all aspects of education, so both their head office and the team that's now going to take over the school, but we're really pleased with how the results come out.
The public has another chance to tour the school next month. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Golf News.
As the end of the year quickly approaches, the Port Augusta community is looking back on what has been a busy year. From various COVID scares through to funding announcements worth millions of dollars for the city, Edward McCarroll sat down with Mayor Brett Bembo to reflect.
Well, 2021 has been a challenging but a fruitful year for the city of Port Augusta. I'm joined by Mayor Brett Bembo to talk about the year that was. Brett, thank you for joining me.
Good morning, Edward. It's great to be here. And 2021 was a challenging year, but I think Port Augusta's come through shining.
Obviously, this year was heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but a lot of progress was also made. Brett, how do you feel about the community's ability to adapt to this new situation?
Look, from the very first time we started to discuss the COVID pandemic, the community were all ears. They were concerned. And I'm very proud of the community on how it's reacted.
And what was probably the biggest scare for the community was the steady stream of COVID-positive truck drivers from interstate. How do you think they reacted to that?
Oh, look, that was a great concern when it came out, but we communicated with the community well and provided advice and instruction, and the government did also.
If anything, I think that really just shows how much of Australia's traffic does pass through this town.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, the last count we had, I suppose, was about 13,000 vehicles over our bridge a day. If you calculate that through the annual period, it's a large amount of traffic.
And with that, how do you feel seeing the progress made on the Joy Belush Bridge duplication this year?
Oh, look, I think it's going to be a fantastic attribute to Port Augusta and to the region. I mean, it's going to assist traffic flow more freely. With the new intersection also at the east side of the bridge, that's going to control the traffic flow. The new walkways in the process is going to make it safe for our community. They're going to be able to walk and use their mopeds and their push bikes without interference of road traffic.
That's not going to be the only construction happening in those waters out there.
The government's agreed to repair the wharf and make it safe for use. I'm very proud that we got $22 million to go towards this water infrastructure. We worked very hard. The CEO of Port Augusta worked very hard and the council worked very hard to achieve this. And I think it's great recognition of that effort.
It really does look like the city is on the up and up. Thank you for joining me, Brett, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you for the opportunity, Edward. I believe Port Augusta is on the up and up also, and moving forward, I think we have great opportunity. There will be challenges, but I think Port Augusta as a community can face those challenges.
Stay with us after the break. The plan to redevelop a Port Pirie Oval to build more houses. And tight matches bring Port Lincoln squash season to an end. Hello again. Port Pirie's Globe Oval is looking a little worse for wear as weeds start to grow onto the grass. Council is now considering redeveloping the land, with the oval not used as much since the new sports precinct opened.
Part of Port Pirie's sporting history now under the microscope. For more than 20 years, Globe Oval has hosted footy, cricket and even a Wolfmother concert. Cricket is still being played at the Oval, but most sporting activities have moved to the sports precinct, leaving Globe Oval looking worse for wear, with weeds growing onto the grass and damage being reportedly unattended.
That's actually overrun a little bit, so we got cricket to start playing there, and they've been enjoying building them around and missing some of the weeds and all that sort of stuff.
In a report, the council stated it was considering Port Football Club's proposal to turn the Oval into an RV park.
The expressions of interest are a little bit secretive at the moment, but it will be given full consideration, and if there's a better use for that, we'll certainly be involved with it.
Council also considering selling the land to private investors, which could make room for new homes to be built. No more funding would be allocated to maintain or upkeep the Oval unless it is at a minor cost.
But it's a great facility. We do probably need to keep it on our radar, particularly with the green spacing that we're looking to do.
A decision on what will be done with the Oval is expected to come in the new year, after the cricket season has finished. Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta City Council is seeking community feedback on the proposed Ryan Mitchell Swim Centre upgrade. Made possible by a $1 million grant from the state government earlier this year, a number of facilities are set to be refurbished, including the replacing of all pipes, filters and the chemical dosing facility. Council is also looking to use the money to refurbish the toddler pool and install a new water play park at the 50-year-old site. Meanwhile, hundreds of swimmers from 3 states will converge on Broken Hill this weekend for a new carnival. The Silver City Summer Sizzler, providing a rare chance for local swimmers to set qualifying times on their home turf.
An inaugural carnival making waves in the swimming scene. The Silver City Swim Club getting in some final training before hosting the Silver City Summer Sizzler.
We're bringing swimmers from New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria, so we've got 10 clubs competing.
More than 117 competitors aged 5 to 46 to make a splash at the Regional Aquatic Centre this weekend. The meet a chance to set country, state and national qualifying times.
Good, because you don't have to go and travel a few hours to another town. And it'll be really good to have our own carnival here.
I don't think it's ever been possible before, because we have referees coming from Sydney and Adelaide.
More than $5,000 in prizes, medals and trophies are up for grabs. The event made possible through the support of local sponsors.
We'd also like to thank the Broken Hill City Council for giving us a $5,000 grant, so it's a community assistant grant.
With a barbecue, food stalls, raffles and music, Broken Hill swimmers hope to see as many local spectators as possible.
They'll support you when you race, and no matter what you get, it will be fine.
Racing begins 9 a.m. on Saturday. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
This year's Port Lincoln Squash Grand Final certainly came down to the wire. After a long season, the two best teams battled it out in some closely contested matches. The final acting as a lead up to this weekend's squash practice hit with the state team.
Port Lincoln's squash competition coming down to the final rubber. A showdown between iHawk Building and John Payne Painting, seeing the grand final decided on points won.
Yeah, tonight's the grand final. We had a couple of players missing, so had a couple of fill-ins, but it's been fairly tight for the whole season, which makes it a really exciting grand final to have.
Despite going down, young gun Harry Izzo pleased with the competitive season.
Yeah, it was good. We had a lot of numbers come in, and yeah, it was just great, even competition around all the positions.
In the end, it was iHawk Building who took out the win, defeating John Payne Painting 180 to 168. Last night's matches setting up the Port Lincoln locals for a practice hit with the state team over the weekend.
We got the state juniors coming over. James Rogers will be bringing those over from Squash SA. We'll put our players against them and also some from Arno and Whyalla.
After this weekend's practice hit, players won't return to the course until March next year. However, club secretary Chris Baird is encouraging new players to join.
We're always happy to have new members, so feel free to come down or just have a look, or just have a look at us on our Facebook page.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Lachlan Itter will have the prices at our regional petrol pumps, and we'll have all the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. As we check local fuel prices for the final time this year, there's an early Christmas present for motorists. Right across our region, not a single price jump has been reported this week. Lachlan Itter has the details in Fuel Watch.
Concerns over Omicron saw global oil prices drop, but that does seem to be turning around, so let's enjoy these prices while we can. Starting as always with unleaded, and we'll get the less positive news out of the way. Apologies to those in Whyalla and Broken Hill who are in a holding pattern and the most expensive areas. $1.71 a litre in Broken Hill and just under $1.64 in Whyalla. Drops of between 2 and 3 cents have seen prices on the York Peninsula dip to just under $1.60 a litre. Port Lincoln also falling into that price bracket. Prices in Port Augusta going down by just under 2 cents to $1.63 a litre, $1.45 a litre in Adelaide, the lowest average in a couple of months, and right at the bottom of the cycle now, so get in quick. Over to diesel, where the news gets even better with green arrows from top to bottom. It is those same areas that are seeing the largest drops, so Port Pirie and Port Lincoln are $1.58 a litre. Kadina is the cheapest option, just under $1.57 there. Whyalla has seen the tiniest drop to $1.65, down around half a cent in Port Augusta to $1.64. Broken Hill also just a small shift and still in that $1.68 region. You're looking at $1.59 a litre in Adelaide, so on par with most of the Spencer Gulf. Bringing things home with a look at auto gas, where prices have been high and stable of late, but a couple of good changes this week. Port Pirie down 2 cents to $1.18 a litre, the same price as Whyalla. Prices in Broken Hill also dropping, now a stone's throw from $1.11, slightly more than Port Lincoln, which remains the cheapest option. Try to avoid filling up in Port Augusta and Kadina, they're still a fair way ahead of the pack, and make sure to top up the tank if you're in Adelaide. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do spot unleaded, diesel or auto gas cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and happy Wednesday, everyone. It appears that wet spring is behind us, with mainly fine conditions recorded again across the region today. From 3 p.m, Port Pirie was partly cloudy and 23, Cleve was cloudy and 19, and Cooper Pedy was sunny and 25 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, Port Augusta was 23, Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Adelaide were all 20, Woodner and Broken Hill were both 22, Kadina and Clare reached 19 degrees. Taking a look at the clouds now, and not a drop of rain in sight. Some cloud pushing in from the south but remaining dry. Clear elsewhere under a warm, dry air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. South to southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Port Lincoln and Cleve will be partly cloudy and 19 degrees tomorrow. Cloud clearing in Woodner and set to reach a high of 25 degrees there. Whyalla partly cloudy and 21. Port Augusta and Kadina both set to reach a high of 23 degrees. Port Pirie will get to a top of 25, Clare 21 and Broken Hill mostly sunny with a max of 23 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, sunny across most parts on Friday. Port Augusta and Port Pirie set to reach 27, Woodner 29, Port Lincoln will be partly cloudy and 21, Kadina mostly sunny with 25 degrees. Those temperatures are set to warm up on the weekend. Cooper Pedy and Woodner with 34, a degree cooler in Port Augusta, Whyalla, Kadina and Broken Hill all set to reach 29, Port Lincoln mostly sunny and 24. To Sunday now, and Woodner will be very hot and mostly sunny with a whopping 40 degrees. Port Augusta and Port Pirie both 37, 35 in Whyalla, Kadina and Adelaide. Looking like a scorcher there on Sunday for Woodner, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you, Ruby.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.